What's up, board game people? First off, thank you all so much for the incredible response to my questions about news video length last week. Overwhelmingly, you all seem to love the longer videos, so I'll stick to that as much as I can, but know that every word of feedback was heard and is being considered. Thank you all so much. Also, as always, thank you to everyone pitching in a few dollars on Patreon to help me get some much needed filming equipment. I plan to be on the road much more next year, and some of that stuff really gets expensive. It's wonderful knowing you all have my back, so thank you so much. Now, let's get to that news. Live on crowdfunding, now we have the Omni modular display case that's raised over $300,000 in funding, with 15 days left, and pretty much can't keep up with the stretch goals as fast as they're being unlocked. Weirdwood Manor is also sitting just above $300,000, with only hours left in the campaign and only a few remaining stretch goals hanging out there. Clank Legacy 2 Acquisitions Incorporated Darkest Magic is raked in over $500,000, and it has 16 days remaining. Clank has unlocked scratch-off coins and narration in a companion app for the game, with a dual-layered health track on the horizon. Guards of Atlantis 2 is creeping up on 600,000 euros and is entering the last 2 weeks on GameFound. The Hunter's AD 1492 is going strong with almost 200,000 euros. Next up on stretch goals are a giant scorpion fight and some more side quests. Skytear Horde's Monolith is doing alright this time around on GameFound, sitting just above 100,000 euros, funded and moving towards some more promo cards. Coming to crowdfunding this week, on Kickstarter, we have Leviathan Wilds, which has already blown past its funding goal and is already unlocking some interesting stretch goals. One quick note for any GenCon goers, the event list has been posted and you can now wishlist events in preparation for the 21st when event tickets go on sale. At last look, I saw over 15,000 events being offered. Personally, I'm having trouble choosing, but I know you'll see me at True Dungeon for all 3 campaigns. Late backing is now open for Andromeda's Edge. For late backers, the big difference is perks and promotions are all ended and are now add-ons. As for all those perks and promotions they ran during the campaign, they should already be applied to your GameFound pledge. They seem to be really on top of this. They've partnered with new publishers to help bring Andromeda's Edge to 9 additional languages: French, Italian, Polish, Spanish, German, Hungarian, Chinese, Czech, and Ukrainian. There may be more added to this list in the future as well. Pre-production and tooling is getting started for the game's minis, as this will be their longest task. They're also working with game trays to get the various tray designs locked down, as again, these take more time than printed material. The pledge manager for regular backers should open very soon. The latest from the Earth Under Siege campaign is in, and we're getting a quick look at the full cast of plastic mini samples. This is going to be quite the collection and look amazing on a table. So many of these are just begging for paint too. Written material is getting closer and closer to completion, but testing will continue right up until the last possible moment. Translations are going well and should be ready in time for the print run. We can expect another update from them towards the end of the month once they have their final update from Longpack. The pledge manager for Stonesaga has opened to the masses. They want to remind everyone that prices displayed are in Canadian dollars and not US dollars, so please mind the conversion. It really isn't as expensive as it first looks. Shipping has risen slightly from the estimates, but only $1 to $5 per pledge level. They're also speaking more about the opening of Open Owl Studios, which looks to be taking the heavier world building and campaign games from OOMM and freeing Out of My Mind up to continue their original mission of creating easy to pick up and play games. This should only benefit us as gamers, as now we should have specific teams dedicated to their larger Kickstarter projects. A quick but good news update from the Middara team came in this week. Shipping for Canada is getting locked down, and they now have a Canadian partner to ship with that will bring those costs down. The issues of orders that have already been fulfilled showing remaining balances should be getting fixed shortly. You will not be charged for items you already have. The new add-on they were hinting at last week is only a pack of XL sleeves, so I guess I approve. They show off some of the red wax samples of the Act 1 token upgrade pack, which looks quite nice. And then we got to look at those beautiful Lupercalia 2022 and 2023 minis. These are going to be great. We're taking a stroll through the memories of the past with Black Rose Wars Rebirth's latest update, focusing on the Rotos Antiquities box. From the giant cactus whose death rewards mages a forgotten spell, to new summons and the Oracle Skull of Magic, the Antiquities box is quite rich with content. The Oracle charges the event board, leading them towards a devastating revelation effect that they can unleash against their opponents. The Oracle Spriggan evocation has one of the best minis from this box, and Cassandra, the new Magister, rounds it all out nicely with her Pythia of Delphi spell that allows her to perform 2 prophecies or summon 2 auspices and activate them immediately. They say that they're getting closer to finally having this game in the hands of backers. Hopefully that's true. The Lawyer Up Season 2 pre-production copy has been entered into evidence, and Exhibit 1 shows off a few of the cards, components, and punch boards. The timeline for the project remains unchanged, with a targeted August to October fulfillment timeline. The pledge manager for Batman Escape from Arkham Asylum will be closing somewhere between the end of June and early July. Make sure you get those pledges finalized if you want the game. Pledge managers, pledge managers, pledge managers. Someday I feel like that's all I talk about. I don't mean to drive the FOMO or hype, I just go where the news takes me. So let's talk about some more. The pledge manager for Maladum, Dungeons of Enveron, is now open on GameFound. They're showing off some of the sheet layouts for the terrain, and because they had to increase the number of sheets to hold everything, the retail MSRP has gone up to $160, making that pledge a whopping 60% off of retail. Battle Systems always does a grand job of offering a great deal with their campaigns, and this one is no exception. In this update, we got a peek at another miniature, and they let us know that the tooling for minis is already complete, so things are already humming along nicely, and they should have no problem hitting their fulfillment estimate at this time. The pledge manager should be closing sometime around July. We got our first post-campaign update from the new Townsfolk Tussle campaign. They're laying out the remaining work, and they're presenting their plan to knock it all out. On the art side, they need to finish the box sides for the 2nd edition, finish the town map, terrain and unique gear for Ernie Offal and Barry Bluff. They need the remaining unrevealed Barnaby curses, and about 10% of the gear cards and 1 roll card for the odd jobs are left. Also a handful of terrain tiles and lots of odd job unlock illustrations. For design, they need to finalize the final fights for Eddie and Barry, continue testing the tweaks across the board, and continue working with Blackmagic trays to perfect their design. As of now, expected delivery is set for September of 2024. The pledge manager will open on June 1st and will be open for a few months. The pledge manager for ATO is officially closed, and they're teasing us with pictures of some painted minis from the 12 Sins of Herakles. They also shared a preview of the Kickstarter page, where it's confirmed that the 12 Sins of Herakles Summer Box will in fact be available through this campaign. It was officially confirmed that all 4 seasons will be made available as they are revealed throughout the reprint campaign. At this time, the preview page lists only the 3 pledges that have already been discussed, but it does mention a free expansion for backers called The Last Stand of the Giganese. It also mentions that there will be both stretch goals and daily reveals. I'll be keeping my eye on this page to see if any more is added. The latest from Burn Cycle, which I was running a little bit behind on, is that full-scale manufacturing of the game content has begun. The brass mag sculpts have all been through some iteration, but they have the final samples in hand for approval. Production should be complete towards the end of May. They're hoping to begin freight on some regions before the end of May, but it's in the factory's hands for now. Production for OrcQuest Warpath has officially begun. If things continue according to schedule, the production and packing of games wraps at the end of July, and games start final shipping to backers in October. I must say they're handling this project exceptionally well, and I'm hopeful that they'll keep to schedule. We have lots of Pledge Manager news for the Company of Heroes 2nd Edition. The Pledge Manager is open, and late pledging is available, and all the added add-ons are there, including the Charity Terrain Pack 4 Mega Bunker. They're subsidizing the VAT down to 15%, so you'll only pay 15%, not your country's normal VAT or customs tax. The Pledge Manager will stay open until June 19th. Shipping prices are a mixed bag, but it's a very heavy game, and shipping still sucks. It's likely something we're going to have to get used to. Finally, they're working with PayPal in an effort to allow it as a payment method, but that work is still ongoing and not guaranteed. A quick update from the Warcrow campaign goes over exactly what is and is not Kickstarter exclusive. They also spotlight Una, a Siennan elf who has grafted seeds to replace her battle-lost limbs. These magical seeds have given her extraordinary powers that rely on both the seeds and other players to function. The Pledge Manager is still open until June 6th, but if you finalize your pledge before May the 29th, you'll be entered to win a Thunderous Gust box. Production of Oathsworn's reprint is in full swing and on target for October delivery. They'll be at the UK Game Expo and encourage you to stop by and say hello. And they're still hard at work on the German translation, which will be available in the companion app. They'll start releasing the chapters in blocks of 4 this summer. The pledge manager for Gotham City Chronicles has been extended until the end of May. They're waiting on some approvals and they can't start production as soon as they would like, so they're keeping the pledge manager open for a bit longer. For the board game portion, the resin proofs are done, and they're in the molding phase for miniatures. Translations of New Eden are finished, and Gotham City in Flames is in progress. The English part of scripts for Season 1 and 2 are complete and being translated to French. The scenarios for Season 3 are in testing. They are test printing some of the components now and should be showing them off soon. For the role-playing game, the rulebook is mapped out, the adventure book is being proofed and mocked up, and the Gotham City Guide translation sits at 60%, and the other components are in the printing phase and will be shown soon. A quick update from Arydia Paths We Dare Tread gives the usual timeline showing the pledge manager closing in August and delivery in Q1 of 2024. We got a shot of the threat, job, and travel decks, and the game is much closer to the finish line after April. To date, they've had over 1,000 custom cards and 300 area maps, all with unique artwork and handcrafted stories. They're pushing the submission date for files out by a month to finish up some remaining issues, but they don't expect this to affect Q1 delivery. For the art, they're getting more illustrations added to the game. NPC portraits are coming in and existing ones are getting some revisions. They're revising maps to make them more readable, working on item artwork, and a few other small items. Playtesting has now been happening for 1.5 years, over 1,000 combat playtests. They continue proofing, editing, and trying to catch any errors or typos. This week, we got a bunch of exclamation points from Kingdom Death Monster. At least they managed to get something out, right? I think. They don't really say anything in the update, but they let the pictures do the talking for themselves. They have what appears to be a production proof, or what would be even better if it was just one of the actual mass production copies of the Gambler's Chest. My bet is on production proof, though. What this means is the Gambler's Chest is in production and hopefully not more than a few months from hitting our doorsteps. The box itself is massive, looking to be as big or slightly bigger than the core box for KDM. If everything looks as good as what's pictured, it's going to be well worth the wait. Another pledge manager. The pledge manager for HexploreIt Fall of the Ancients opens on May 12th. Late pledging is available, but in limited quantities. Prices have not gone up. The early ship deadline is May 29th. If you got products that include early ship, you must have your pledges complete in the pledge manager by then. Due to some logistics black magic, they've been able to lower the shipping costs, sometimes dramatically for early ship. Make sure you stop by the Community Encounters poll in the update and cast your vote for the 8 new baddies that we'll be facing off against. Big news from the Fractal Beyond the Void campaign. They've received samples of all products in each language. There's still a few adjustments to be made, but they're close to a final production-ready version. They posted a time-lapse unboxing that you're watching now, and they want to pass along that sleeves do work with the inserts. The additional corrections are only moving the schedule out by about a week, and they hope to have news of the start of production to us soon. Werewolf the Apocalypse Retaliation is killing it with the latest miniature designs they're showing off. In fact, the whole project seems to be moving pretty smoothly. They're up to 20 scenarios written, meaning that half are done, and they've been approved by Paradox. Proof is in the pudding, and the project chart, if accurate, proves it. Malia Lands of Legend is breaking the silence and seems to be racing towards its finish line. The pledge manager is closed and locked down, and the next time we'll see Malia available will be at retail. The booklet progress chart is almost all green with a few tasks remaining on the final 5 booklets. We're getting some pictures of the mini samples, and while I'm still not a fan of the clear bases, at least some of them are sculpted. They're trying their best to keep to an update schedule of every 2 months or so, which I hope they can do, as it seems there shouldn't be too many more updates if this beast is delivered to us in Q4 as planned. A short and sweet May update for Ancient Blood, the Order of Vampire Hunters, states that all stories have been completed and checked. The first one is being sent to the translators. They aren't sure how long this process will take, but they're hoping it'll be around a month. Nova Aetus Renaissance is ramping up towards full production. We're getting more and more shots of the miniatures coming out of the factory, and the paper side of things is progressing well. print material without languages, and those in English and Italian are being processed and ready for production soon. The other languages will proceed as soon as their files are finalized. They're still on schedule for summer 2023 delivery, but I'm not exactly sure what they consider summer. If you would like to see the game in the wild, they'll be at Modena Play on May the 18th through the 21st. A quick reminder that the backer kit for Ivion Season 2 will be closing on May 15th. The Pledge Manager for Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is officially open on GameFound and ready to rob your wallets. The rulebook for the Battlefield expansion is ready for viewing and linked in the update. The Battlefield expansion introduces 2 new modes for 1v1 play of the game, the Adventure and Skirmish modes. In the Adventure mode, all of the game's tiles, locations, and map is converted into a deck of adventure cards that are then drawn per turn to unveil what fate holds for the journey ahead. The deck is split into 2 categories, combat and events, which will pit you against enemies or present you with meaningful encounters that can alter the course of the game. You can choose to keep in reserve a single card to aid you along the way. In the Skirmish mode, you'll find the rules allow you to skip the entire adventure aspect of that and focus on the meaty combat. You'll prepare a starting deck of 3 ability cards, 2 artifacts, and 2 spells, and head into battle. Every time you have to resolve a combat adventure card, you choose the enemy's combat power, select 2 of your units, and roll 2 attack dice. If you win the roll, you win the encounter and rewards. This should allow the game to hop from battle to battle rather quickly. The expansion also includes morale cards, which serve as a replacement for the standard morale tokens found in the core game. A lovely Zerywia update has come out, outlining production progress and the path forward. Many of the miniature sculpts are now complete and they're looking fantastic, and they hope to be moving to tooling for them very soon. Right now they're focused on improving the rulebook and finishing the rules for Zerywia Quest, and they hope to publish these documents in July. German translations are in progress, but will still take some time to complete. Late pledging remains open until the end of May, and in June and July they'll be finalizing the books and getting them online. Printing is planned for September, and they'll be doing everything possible to get packages out to backers inside of the year. Okko Chronicles Cycle of the Earth has put out an update outlining the Shadows of the Karasu expansion. It introduces Yuki Onna, the Spirit of Winter, who can replace the Black Tiger as the hero's opponent. Yuki cannot use equipment cards, but benefits from powerful skills and action cards. It can summon corrupted kammis, cast curses, and even take control of opponents. The expansions also include Veteran Bowmen, Karasu Horsemen, and the Karasu Ogre that can catapult minions at the heroes. It also includes powerful new items and a few new location and map tiles. The Pledge Manager for Teburu and the Bad Karmas closes on May 12th. Final warning. The production timeline is looking pretty solid, with the molds already being complete, pre-production samples being produced, mass production beginning in mid-May and completing by the end of July. Shipping to backers will be between October and November of this year. Shipping for the Quatro City, the puzzle board game, has started and should take 1 to 2 months to complete due to logistical challenges in Ukraine. Delivery of orders with the puzzle tables will take slightly longer. Despite many delays, deliveries of Vampire the Masquerade chapters is finally moving forward. In Europe, shipping should start from the hub on May 18th. For the US and Canada, shipping from the hub should begin on May 17th. Freight shipping of Wave 2 bound for the UK and US is currently underway, and the rest of the world freight should be underway by now. Another quick update. This one from Skyrise shows off the full cast of building minis which have all been approved for production. The print files are almost ready for mass production, and they're still working on finalizing the wash process, but this shouldn't hold the project up at all. Forsaken is on track and things are going well. We are still waiting on assets to be submitted to the manufacturer, but that should happen this month. The final round of QA testing is complete and they're busy implementing the necessary changes. They are editing the massive amount of writing and proofing everything. Graphics are in the final touch-up phase, and the trays are still in development but shouldn't be in danger of causing delays. They want these trays to be perfect. They're keeping the Pledge Manager open as long as possible. I know this because I saw it on a beautifully handcrafted PNG. See? The end of the update goes on to muse about future projects and the roadmap for 2024, but they warn that they will not return to Kickstarter until at least fulfillment for Forsaken is underway. So what's coming up? They plan to do some smaller $40 to $60 game releases straight to retail to help finance larger products. and they seem pretty sure that they'd like to add more content to Forsaken, so this is perhaps only the beginning of our journeys in this world. Isofarian Guard, oh you giant box from the board game gods. This game is continuing to be shipped, and VFI provided a handy chart of when the games would get to various Asian hubs. Australia fulfillment is complete. In the US, fulfillment should be mostly done. In Canada, the packages are starting to arrive this week. In the EU and UK, shipping to backers will start this week. They shared a great site, Rollpop, that has an Isofarian Guard page that should prove very useful, and reviews are looking great for the game. The Isofarian Guard box is absolutely massive and surprisingly heavy. I was shocked when I started digging into mine. It's going to be great to see the game hitting so many tables. Mythwind is another of the projects from OOMM that's been transferred over to Open Owl Studios. Thankfully, that had no effect on the timeline. The sample copy will be shipped to them on the 15th, and from there the game will move into full production. As things sit now, mass production finishes in June, freight happens in July, and fulfillment happens in September and October. Let's finish this with a quick progress update from SAS Rogue Regiment. They've continued playtesting to the point where they're pretty much done with the core and They Who Dare. Boxes are still being designed and completed now, and they're working with the manufacturer to make sure everything is ready for print. So, a very gushy thank you once again for the incredible response last week. If you ever have any suggestions for new games to look at, new videos that you'd like to see, or something I could do better, please let me know in the comments or on our Discord. I'm always taking notes. I make my videos for the viewers. I don't take money from game companies, so I have the freedom to talk about anything I want and to offer my honest opinion. I'm not here to advertise for large or even small companies. I back, support, and make content for games that I'm interested in, and I think you all might like to know about. I do all this on my own very tight budget, but having this freedom really keeps me going. Thank you to everyone watching, commenting, and those supporting the channel on Patreon. If you have some spare change and you'd like to pitch in to help me get some filming equipment, check out my Patreon page linked in the video description. Have a great week, don't let the FOMO get you, and play something exciting this week.